Hi guys, so today we're kicking off the interview for the Student to Master series I'm doing in 2017. So I'm at K&D Auto Body today to interview Keith and Kurtis Stotts. They're a family business here in Klamath Falls, Oregon. And let's go inside and we'll take a shop tour and we'll do some interview with them.
Take these boxes around the corner that are sitting out here. And he had no clue. Here's one of the vehicles we're just finishing up on, the state police rig, obviously. This one here was actually sideswiped down the driver's side. We had to put a set of doors on it, repair the quarter and front fender and stuff. We finished it up last week. Decals have been a problem with the Oregon State Police vehicles, and they're changing the decals on the passenger side right now because they've been turning black. So that obviously they're not getting the safety reflective that they need out there. So that's one of the things we're doing on the other side just to finish it up for them and stuff. We've got a Dodge pickup here that slid off the road here last week when we had our 8-inch snow between here and Bedford on the other side of Oak Mountain. We got 3M mints, got a bedside that actually got crashed during their harvest season, but they put some of that stuff off until they're done with their work season with the farmers. Then I got some restoration. We got a 54 Bel Air we're doing for Archie Lindman. So I mean, we got a lot of stuff that we work on here, and we're very versatile here at this facility, where I do restoration stuff to insurance stuff to, in the earlier video you seen the gas pump in the office there, stuff like that gets done here. We painted bicycles. We've done pretty much anything and everything. The tractor hood in the office there that just got finished up last week. So anything that is metal. Maybe not even just metal, plastic too, that we will build and paint and stuff. We've got a couple of smart cars here we've been working on, getting those ready. This gray one's actually for a gentleman in Montana. The teal one actually is my personal, that we're going to be using it for all the cars around on the semi and stuff. So we have an extra little car to run around on. Mixing bank here that stirs all the paint and stuff as we need. And then as you come around in here, this is actually where we do all the spraying. You can see obviously there's a lot of bright light in here. You need to have good lighting, good ventilation. It pulls air from that end, exhausts it out the other end, and then takes it up through the ceiling of the building and stuff. So fire suppression systems are all really important when you have paint. There's just a lot of safety things that have to be taken into effect here.
So today we're with Keith and Kurtis Stotts at K&D Auto Body in Klamath Falls. So Keith, give me some background on where did you come from? How did you get into this business?
So actually how I got into the business, I grew up on a farm in Montana. Obviously had a lot of skills of just do it yourself. Farmers are like that because you live out in the country. You got to learn to make do with what you have. Then basically once I left the agricultural side of things, I went into the auto service side of things, and I did about 11 years of that, basically working in service departments. I worked at a dealership for a while, then became a service manager for Kmart Corporation and did roughly 10 years of that. Then while that was happening, I decided to look into the auto body side of things.
Okay, so you have, I guess we'd say, no formal education. You didn't go to like UTI or Lincoln Tech or anything?
So I don't. I have a high school education only, but I can tell you I have a lot of training that's been submitted to us in different forms, you know. From the days of being in the auto service, there was all kinds of different clinics you would go to, and as well as ASE certified classes you would take over the years and stuff that I participated in. And then once I went into the auto body side of things, you had the same thing, your ICAR certification stuff, your paint certification, collision work, and so on and so forth.
Okay. So, knowing your history on that, would you recommend kids actually go to like a technical school if they wanted to get into the auto body or the paint industry? So, looking at your experience now, if you could go back to Keith of 15 to 18 range when you're that age, looking forward, what did you want to do for a career?
Well, at that time, I can honestly say for myself, growing up on a farm, I really figured that that was going to be my career. Some things changed in my life along the way that actually took me away from the farm and stuff. And once I got out of that, I decided that I wanted to be in the automotive field. Part of it did take me back to the farm because I had quite a bit of experience dealing with stuff like that. Just for an example, we had a fleet of half a dozen trucks and stuff, so we were putting our own clutches in and transmissions and wheel bearings and rebuilding motors and stuff like that as needed throughout the years. So when you do that kind of stuff, it keeps you kind of in that automotive side of things. So in leaving the farm, I decided that I did want to stay in the automotive side of things. That's where I went in and was doing some mechanical work for a GM dealership in Montana, as well as moving on to the service side of things as far as management.
So if you could go back in time to the 15 to 18 range, what would you change knowing this is where you are today?
Well, what I would basically say is look at options. If it's just going to be a trade school, whether it's a 10-month course or maybe a 2-year program that somebody's offering. The thing about things from back, because I'm 52 years old now, to when I was 15, 16 years old, electronics has came into our world tremendously. And if you really need to have that education on the side of electronics with your scanning tools and your sensors and your ECMs and all of the stuff that goes to automotive today, you really have to have that education background. Where the way I was brought into the field is, I was brought into it, I guess I want to say slow, because it wasn't that electronic stuff was not there back then. And as the industry changed, I was educated slowly as it went on, as well as not myself. I think a lot of people, in their mid to late 40s on up into my age and older, that's what happened to them, because it was kind of on-the-job training stuff back then that you actually learned. But now you're not going to get that. You're just not going to get that. So going out and getting that 10-month course, that 24-month course, or that 4-year degree in an automotive field, it's very important.
Okay, now focusing on Kurtis, so you're kind of in that range we're looking at for this area. What recommendations do you have? Now, listen to your dad's advice. What do you think of it, and what is your recommendation?
I think it's important that kids at least look at the option to go into like a trade school if they're not going to go on and get a 4-year degree. But I know college isn't exactly for everyone. There's plenty of people that go out there and want to be in the workforce right away, but they want to be in they have a passion for the automotive industry or something along those lines, so that they want to go and start working in it, which yeah, they're going to get educated, but like you said, it's going to be a slow process if they're going to be, you know. But will they get to the level of if they would have got a trade school, you know, something went through that and been kind of almost fast tracked a little bit farther ahead to where then they could catch on and go in quicker? Probably not. I don't think, at least. But if they had a Ford university degree, there's a good chance they would have already had that knowledge coming out. So I think they should at least look at the options. But it's not for everyone either, though.
What recommendations do you have for your peers then? Or do you recommend everybody needs to go get an education, or for those that can't, just go get your hands dirty?
I think they should at least try at least a community college level, because like here in Oregon, you have an Oregon Promise as long as you did well basically in high school. I mean, if you can get it for free. You go in and you get 2 years paid. You know, you go in that time you can get a, you know, associates in something. So I mean, then you at least have that going into like your workforce and stuff beforehand.
One other thing I guess I want to add in there, you know, listen to what Kurtis had to say, is these individuals that go out and say they do get go through a 10-month course or a 24-month course, they need to understand too, in the automotive field, once they come into it and, so to speak, what you were saying, start getting their hands dirty, they still have to learn the everyday life of things. You went from textbook to reality, that this is what's really happening. So there's a transitional period there that they need to all be aware of. You know, for quite a few years I was hiring body and paint people out of Wyotech. Wyotech had a school down here in Sacramento, so there was a lot of local youth going down there getting an education, and they felt that when they were going to come out of that they were going to walk into a $20+ an hour job, and that wasn't what was going to happen because they didn't have the experience. Did they have the technical part of it that the school taught them? Yes, but they're going to have to also come into the real world of putting their hands on it, and there's a lot of stuff they learned, and they figured that out. They did. I'm not saying over a period of time that you don't get to that wage, but you still have to come into this industry at an entry level.
Yeah, you don't know everything.
So out of the educational piece, what other things do, I guess, somebody wanting to be in this industry would be nice to have? Presentation skills, technical training outside of education, teamwork, anything like that?
A passion to work.
One of the things that I have tried to work with on local is our vocational program in our high schools and stuff like that, and trying to keep that alive and keep it going and stuff, because I'll just use for an example, Kurtis said not college isn't for everybody, but if that individual knows how to change oil and do some minor service work, they may be able to come out and go to work in a Jiffy Lube or a place like that, or even a dealership doing oil changes and stuff, and it might bring them into the field where then now they've got their feet a little wetter than just in high school level, sampling the water and stuff, testing it, and then they'll go on to a trade or something like that. So there is that. I don't want to discourage the kids that you know, just because they're not going to go to college, even a trade, not to come into the field. I hire people all the time that have not. You know, I've got a gentleman out here that, you know, he's worked in the industry many years now, but he started out with me right out of high school. He graduated Bonanza High School and started out in the auto body industry and stuff, and he's been through a couple dealerships here in town and stuff, and now he's back working for me again. And the experience that I've seen him get from when he first started working for me to where when he came back here this year, it's pretty amazing. You know, there's about a 10-year window in there that he was gone and working for other businesses in town, and to see where his education levels went, pretty interesting, really.
All right, guys, so there's K&D Auto Body with Keith and Kurtis Stotts. Now, some of the things I'm going to do this year, I'm looking for more interviewees, if you would. So if you know of anybody that's been in a business for roughly 20 years that would have some insight kind of directed towards the millennials or those that are 15 to 18 years old, I'm looking for more interviews on that this year. Let me know. I can either do them by video, phone, whatever. And I got some ideas. I've got some lined up. But always follow me on Instagram and check me out. Check out this new series and everything else I got going on YouTube. We'll see you next time.